If you're here, it's probably because this sentence landed in your chest. And what would that be? That would be the sentence that says, I raised them, but I can't live for them. Let that sit for a minute. And maybe part of you feels relief saying it too. And another part of you feels ashamed for even thinking it. Let me say this clearly before we go any further. That doesn't make you selfish. Not at all. That doesn't make you a bad mother. Absolutely not. That means you're waking up. What are you waking up to? You're waking up to the fact that you need to take care of yourself. And if you're a mom who spent years, decades, orienting your entire life around your children's, like I did, orienting yourself around their needs, their emotions, their struggles, and outcomes. This episode is for you. Take a breath. You are in the right place. Let's go. Let's talk about this. Now, identity loss is part of the problem. So is role engulfment. Because this is the part nobody prepares you for as a mother. They don't prepare you for when your child no longer needs you the way they once did. You can suddenly feel invisible in your own life when they no longer need you the way they once did. Not because you failed, but because your identity got fused to caregiving. That's who you are. You are the caregiver. And psychology calls this role engulfment. It happens when one role, which is the mom, rescuer, protector, the problem solver that you are, consumes your sense of self so completely that when roles shift, you disappear with it. So you go from the mom to the rescuer to the protector. And where are you in all of this? And the crazy thing is that society praises this. We celebrate the supermoms, right? Who does it all without breaking a sweat? At least they look like they're not breaking a sweat. They're probably crying at nighttime, exhausted. We clap for the self-sacrificing mothers. We reward exhaustion. What the heck? When did exhaustion become something to be rewarded? We call being depleted, we call that love, but no one talks about the cost. No one tells you what happens to you at the end of all that. Because for years, I thought being a good mom meant I had to pour every last drop of myself into my kids. My exhaustion wasn't a problem. Oh no, not at all. It was a weird badge of honor. I wore it like, hey, I'm doing it all. I'm that super mom. I made a silent vow to shield them from every possible hardship, scrape, and disappointment. And you know what happened? They had hardship, they got scraped, and they got disappointed anyway. When birthday parties came around, I didn't just plan a party. I orchestrated some type of military grade special op. I had color-coded spreadsheets with dietary restrictions and a minute-by-minute schedule with contingency plans. When they were at football practice, I was the super mom. I was the team mom who planned the banquet, who planned for, not just for even my kids, I planned for all the kids. I spent weeks hand making decorations for the football banquet that nobody cared about when the party was gone. You know, people told me how to simplify it. I was like, no, they need to have the best. You know, and I remember when the day came, I felt this jolt of pure panic because I felt like it had to be perfect, because in my head, a perfect banquet meant I was a perfect mom. A perfect mom could shield her kids from all of life's messy, imperfect moments. That was me. That's what I thought. And at some point, I woke up and I had to face the painful truth. My love was slowly turning into over-identification. I wasn't just supporting them, I was disappearing inside of them. And while I was disappearing inside of them, they were disappearing too. They were still hurt. They still had failures. They still had disappointments. And I took all of that on as if it was my fault. So let's talk why this feels so terrifying for many mothers. Overparenting is not about control. It's not. It's about fear and attachment trauma. Yeah, it comes from your own childhood wounds. Some of us learned early that love means vigilance. Safety means staying alert. Being needed equals worth. Who are you when you're not needed? Are you safe if you're not alert? So when our children struggle, it activates anxiety, guilt, and hyper responsibility in our nervous system that believes if I don't intervene, if I don't do something, something terrible will happen. And a lot of us find out that the terrible thing that happens is that our kids underfunction, but we've talked about that. But you're here for the truth. And the truth, psychology teaches us that anxiety decreases when responsibility is returned to its rightful owner. So when adults are allowed to experience consequences, problem solving, and discomfort, they grow. That's it. They grow. So when parents absorb those experiences instead, parents burn out. Because you've had your experiences, you've had your trauma. And now you're trying to absorb all of theirs, preventing them from living their lives. Need I say that the breaking point wasn't some kind of big dramatic meltdown. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Kids are out and about doing their thing. The house is clean, dinner's prepped, and you get a whole entire freaking hour to yourself finally, and you find yourself standing in the middle of your living room with no idea what to do with yourself. When this happened to me, I literally asked, what do I like to do? The answer? A complete, total blank. I'd spent so long being the mom, the super mom, the scheduler, the lunch packer, the this, the football mom, the rescuer, right? The keeper of all things, that the woman I was before her sense of self vanished was no longer there. This is a real phenomenon. Anthropologist Dana Raphael called it matrescence. This is the process of becoming a mother, a transition as disorienting as adolescence, involving massive physical, psychological, and emotional changes. We don't realize how much goes into becoming a parent. It's a process that can make you feel like a ghost in your own life. Suddenly you look in the closet and you don't recognize the clothing. You try to remember the last book you read, and You can't remember. You can't remember, at least not a book that was not about a child or raising a child. Your career, your style, and your old friends fade to beige. Like they're not around. I was actually at some point grieving a person I couldn't even name, and I didn't know how to say it. And that's the truth, and that's the truth many of you out there are carrying. You don't even know how to name that person that's gone. So here's the big question. How do you begin shifting gently, safely, without blowing up your whole family? How do you do it? Right? Because a lot of you, I see a lot of people out there talking about getting back to themselves, but a lot of people are like, they feel like they just want to blow up their whole lives. It starts with a tiny, quiet admission. I am not okay. That's it. And I refuse to live like this anymore. Your identity doesn't come back all at once. Not at all. It returns in pieces. And I actually believe that you kind of find yourself, but in a new way. Now I'm going to give you some real doable steps that help me. And I hope that it helps you. First, I had to separate love from labor. You can love your child deeply without managing their life. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry or theirs to learn from? If it's theirs, take a pause. Pause. Don't jump in if it's theirs. Number 2, you want to get comfortable with discomfort. Your discomfort doesn't mean danger. Sit with the urge to fix. Let the feeling pass. Nothing is breaking. Maybe your heart a little bit. Because you're realizing it's not yours anymore to carry. You're teaching your nervous system a new pattern at this point. And the third thing you want to do is practice neutral support. Instead of advice or rescue, and I'm that mom that loves to give advice and rescue, by the way, and I know there are a lot of you out there. But here's what you want to try saying. You want to try saying, I trust you'll figure this out. Or, that sounds hard. And it's okay for things to be hard. Or you can even ask, what do you think your next step is? This isn't withdrawal. It's respect for their process. It's respect for their ability to own what's theirs, to take control over their life. 4, I want you to reclaim one thing that is just yours, not for productivity, not for caretaking. I want you to reclaim something that's just for you. I want you to start with something ridiculously small. 5 minutes of non-negotiable alone time. Just hide in the bathroom for 5 minutes and try not to feel guilt. You will. But get comfortable with that. Maybe add a few extra the next time. The first few times are going to feel agonizingly pointless, but stick with it. Next, you know what I did? I bought a bright yellow jacket. It was impractical, it wasn't sensible, and it wasn't a mom coat. It was just for me because I love the color. That's it. Buy something that's just for you. For me, it was like a tiny flare sent up from the old me. And the next day, I deleted a kid-friendly playlist from my phone and downloaded an album that I loved in my 20s. I listened to it with headphones while I did dishes, and it felt like a secret just for me. It was all mine. I've graduated to listening to podcasts now when I do the dishes. I still do my chores. I still do the things that I need to do, but I have things that are just for me. I love this because Tony Robbins calls this no extra time, which is net time. And all that is that you find times and places in your life to reclaim pieces of yourself without needing extra time while you're doing other things and tending to other obligations. But there are times that you need to just take time just for you, like hiding out in the bathroom. You need it. That's your downtime, even if it's just 5 minutes. And all of this is just about getting out of your head and back into your own skin, what experts call somatic reconnection, the practice of simply noticing the physical sensations in your body without judgment. You're so busy being the caretaker, the rescuer, that you don't even feel your body anymore. You know what? I'd stand outside and just take 3 slow breaths, focusing on the feeling of my feet on the ground. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary because it's grounding. One afternoon, I put on an old college playlist and just danced around the kitchen. Yeah, I felt like an idiot for about 30 seconds of doing that. And then I felt pure, simple joy because it was all just for me. This is about rebuilding curiosity without pressure. Finding those parts of you. There may be some old parts of you you don't want to bring back. You learn those lessons. You're not bringing her back. But you want to bring back a woman who feels alive. Because a woman who feels alive is a better parent. And that teaches your kids something too. It teaches them how to feel alive, how to take care of themselves. I want to ask you a question and I want you to answer honestly in the comments with just one word. Who were you before motherhood consumed everything? Do you know? And there's no shame here, but I want us to start remembering her together. The goal here isn't to get your old self back. No, it's not. Sorry to break it to you, but she's gone. The goal is to integrate all the parts of you, the person you were and the mother you've become, into a new, more whole human being who loves herself, who knows who she is when she's not caregiving, when she's not rescuing. Your children don't need you to disappear in order to thrive. In fact, seeing you rested, fulfilled, and grounded in your own life teaches them something super powerful. It shows them what adulthood looks like. It shows them boundaries, where you start and where they begin. So when they have relationships, they know where they start and the other person begins. It shows them responsibility. Because part of being responsible is taking care of yourself. And if they never see you do it, how are they going to know how to take care of themselves? And for so long, I thought my job was to prepare the whole world for my child. Now I get it. My real job is to prepare my child for the world. And the best way to do that is to model what a whole, vibrant person looks like. And when you look in the mirror and you don't even know who you are, you don't feel whole. Your kids don't need you to live for them. My kids needed me to live, just live and be me. And that's what I'm finally learning to do. And that's what I want you to learn to do. So if this hit home, I want you to drop a smiley face in the comments or drop a heart and hit that like button and subscribe so you can be notified the next time I upload a new video, because we are taking on this journey together. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.